Imagine you are a movie executive and you're in charge of creating a dynamic title for this movie. And the plot of this movie is about people who are sitting on the sidelines. They're afraid, they're thinking about it, talking about it. They have to get a quorum together. Whatever the case is, they're paralyzed from entering into home ownership. So these are your title choices. Would it be Sidelines, Waiting for a Miracle, The Someday Shuffle, Lost in the Waiting Game? Or how about this one? Chasing Tomorrow, Missing Today. And chances are you know one or several people, and it could be you, who might fit into one of these categories. In this video, we're going to cover 3 keys to stop living in the shadows and walk into the light of home ownership. Are you ready? Don't forget, you're in charge of selecting the correct movie title for these different plot lines. And let's start with the first one, co-buying as a viable option. Hey, I'm Tracy Sorrell. If this is your first time to this channel, don't forget, subscribe below, press the bell, and give us a thumbs up. Now let's talk about this co-buying concept. Now try to wrap your mind around this. Co-buying is with you buy a home with a family or friend. You're buying a home with different people here. Maybe 3 people, 2 people, 4 people, different people you've decided you want to buy this home with. And I know what you're thinking. Oh my gosh, Tracy, people do that? I know, I thought the same thing. But remember, we're trying to get them out of the shadows and into home ownership. So this is an option that's really kind of trending with some people. Now, we're not talking about cohabitating. You know what I mean? Your significant other, the person that you're loving for the rest of your lives. We're not talking about that, although we know the rest of your life could be just a few years, so beware. You still are owning a home with someone else. But we're talking about the family, friends, maybe a roommate from college, someone from work, whatever the case. You've decided you're going to buy this home together. So I suppose, logically, the reason why people are choosing this option is because they can't do it on their own. And buying the home together also means you're sharing the expenses of the home together, which would be the utilities. And it'll also be some of those big ticket items. You had a hailstorm. You got to replace that roof. Well, now, of course, you got insurance. You should. You're going to share the expense of replacing the roof. The water heater's gone out. You got to replace that. So maintenance, utilities, all of that, you should be sharing equally. Now, however you make that arrangement is up to you. But I'm just saying this is a concept. So that may sound all fine and good, but I know that as I'm describing this, red flags are flashing everywhere. Because the reality is that sometimes we're hard to get along with ourselves, and we're more difficult to get along with others. I mean, we have to be trained to be loved because some of us are a piece of work. Imagine being tethered to that person through a mortgage. So if there's a falling out of friendship or relationship, now we've got us an issue. You're still together on that mortgage, but somebody's going to try to flake out and say, well, I'm just not going to do it anymore. What if one of the people that you co-bought this home with, co-purchased, loses their job, laid off? Now they're getting fewer hours at work, which impacts what they can contribute. I mean, you can try to squeeze, blood out of a turnip, but let me know how far that goes. You may be stuck. You are risking having to absorb your portion and theirs. Let's say, here's another thing. One of you decides, I am so done with this. I am moving out of the state, out of the country, out of the city. I'm moving. I don't want this house anymore. I'm tired of you. I'm tired of the home. I'm out. Well, here's the problem with that. You can't just say you're out. You have adult responsibilities. Or maybe you thought, you know what? Let's just rent this out. There is another problem. You can't sell it. You can't rent it until everyone is on the same page. And if you guys are having a falling out, you're not on the same page. So that would be the cautionary tale. Just be careful. But the main thing is this is a viable option. Over 48% of people have decided, this is something I would consider. More than 20% of the people have decided, they've already gone into a co-buying situation. So I'm sure there's some really great stories. I don't care how great the story is, the reality is when you're dealing with people, somebody may wake up on the wrong side of the bed. But again, we just want to get you in a home so you can start gaining your independence and your wealth through real estate. Let's take a look at a chart so you can get an idea of why people have decided that co-buying is a real good deal for them. Plot line number 2, the crash and burn. But first, let's take a pause for station identification. Hi, I'm Tracy Sorrell with the DFW Life, and I help people like you sell and buy homes in and around a Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex. And I realize you can find out a lot online. You know, the square feet, number of bedrooms, baths, the price of the home. But what you may not be able to discover is how people live their lives in our different cities, communities, and suburbs. But that's where I come in. I hop in the car, I drive around, I give you the bird's eye view of how people actually get around our town. And if you like that, backstage access, the VIP treatment, then you're going to want to subscribe below, press the bell, give us a thumbs up so you'll be notified anytime anything goes down around our DFW metroplex. Back to the crash and burn. One of the major reasons that people are holding off is they are hoping, they are praying, they are betting on a disaster. But we just don't see that coming in the horizon. There's so many things, there's so many safeguards, so many rails that are protecting homeowners that we just aren't seeing that horrible replay of 2008, 9, 10, 11. So, you remember you're the movie executive, so we could have a prequel that explains why we're not going to see that today. There's so much going on in that time, 2008 through 11, that was mostly a mortgage issue. Come on, let's be honest. People had mortgages, and you knew people like this, and you may have been one of these. They had mortgages they had no business ever getting. Some were they were employed, but they were underemployed. They didn't have really the income to absorb that type of mortgage. And things just happened. Well, thankfully, our lending industry has really tightened up the belt, and they have really tighten up the requirements. So if you are pre-approved, you should be in good shape. Now, if you go out and shop and buy a lot of things right before closing, then you are going to crash and burn your personal home. So if you've been betting on the market to take a plummet, not every bet is a sure thing. And this particular bet, if you're waging that, then you might want to collect your chips and take a hike. So today, homeowners have a lot more equity and they are able to stay in their homes a lot longer than they were. I mean, people in 2008 through 10, they were upside down. They were drowning in their mortgage. They just could not keep up. But we just don't have that. I mean, think for a moment. Okay, well, let's think back then when there were people. I mean, honestly, I know you knew somebody if you didn't experience it yourself. You chose, you reached out to your lender, you went into forbearance, or you had deferred mortgage payments. Either way, there were systems in place to protect your home, protect your equity, and keep you in your home. You didn't have to, go through foreclosure because there were so many systems and plans in place to give you the cushion that you needed to get through that catastrophe that we all went through. So you got to hang on to that home. And as you were hanging on to that home, you were still gaining appreciation and gaining equity. Now, this is not a video about forbearance and delinquency. We all know that you're not getting anything for free. There's a price to pay for that, but you still got the chance to stay in your home. That's the main thing. So even today, the delinquency rate is a lot lower than it has been in the past. Another variable that we really need to count, we cannot discount this, is the unemployment rate. So even today, the unemployment rate is a lot less than it was 2008, 2011, during that time. Now, I understand If you are unemployed, then you don't care what the chart or the graph says. It's a significant problem for you. My hope is that at some point, fairly quickly, you will be gainfully employed. So this is a temporary setback for you. Another issue, there's no sense in, lying about it. Affordability is serious. I can't do anything about the price of gas, the cost of eggs, about your excessive Amazon shopping. I can only help you with the affordability of your home. We can only control what we can control, and you can control those packages that you are getting with your online shopping. So we might want to temper that during this process. But here's something you can do to kind of offset, change, adjust just a little bit of your lifestyle to make your home a little bit more affordable, because this is a temporary change until, you are in a better financial situation. But let's just get you in a home. So consider this. For your home purchase, perhaps you choose to live in a home where there is a very viable, active HOA, and where they have a full-time event planner, where you're going to be able to watch a movie in the pool and, all kinds of things, events, activities throughout the year. You're going to want to move into a community with multiple swimming pools. I know not everyone wants to be splashed at a kiddie pool. I get that. But if they have the multiple swimming pools, typically they have one that's more designed for adults, or the splash-free zone. Or maybe you want that community where you can do your walking through the paths, the trails, the hiking, the biking. There's so many out there, communities, that you could kind of streamline some of your extracurricular expenses, because even some of them have the state-of-the-art gym right there in the community. So you might be able to save a little money from your gym membership, put it on a hiatus, because it's probably not going to be like that swanky gym membership you have. But if you're looking to just kind of slim down your budget, your expenses, that's something that you could do. So you might want to check out a neighborhood that already has the built-in activities that you would enjoy. Just a thought. Oh, and I know we always have that remnant. There's always one or two of you out there that buying a home just isn't convenient. So I'll just renew my lease. I'll just continue to rent the apartment, townhome, condo. I'm just not ready yet. Okay, here's the reality. Somebody's making money on this deal. Either your landlord is going to make it, or you're going to make it. Someone is gaining appreciation and equity. Why not support, invest in yourself? You've been in that apartment for quite some time. You've been leasing this home. You leased 2 homes before. Now it may be time for us to just dive in and get you into or back into home ownership. Oh, and just so you can have visual evidence of what we're dealing with today versus years ago, let's take a look at this chart. The last and final plot twister is the rating game, dating game, the waiting game. Chances are you've been involved with the headlines, you've been studying it, you've been watching it, you're almost an analyst. You have been watching the mortgage rates, and you've heard a few months ago, maybe even a year ago, it's been coming up and coming down. You've been watching and waiting, right? So you've had the big news, headlines, mortgage rates, or federal government, the Federal Reserves are going to lower rates. Well, the only thing you heard was mortgage rates. We know there's a lot going on. There's just a lot of ingredients that goes along with affecting rates. And you may have seen a little downward tick, but nothing significant. I mean, you didn't see 7% go down to 3%. I mean, come on. We may not see that in quite some time, if ever. So that horse has left the barn. Please stop praying about that rate. It's over. It's over for now. Let's just keep going with what we have and put you in the best position to get the best deal on your mortgage. So there are a lot of things we cannot control, but here are the things that you can. So your mortgage rate is going to depend on your debt to income ratio. That's one of several variables. So let's just hover over this one for a second. And this is those student loans that many of you are still carrying. I think we can all agree that prices aren't going to crash anytime soon. So let's look at some of these debts that you may be carrying, and student loan in particular. It is possible to buy even with that student loan debt, and there are programs that can help you save for your loan down payment. And if you saw my earlier video about crowdfunding, well, that might be one you want to check out. Not right now, stick with me through this video, but check out the one about crowdfunding, because what I learned and what I really wanted to share with people are so many different ideas of how you can, source your down payment, your closing costs, the different things and expenses you need to move into your home. So that might be a really good one to check out, where you can get social media and your community of family and friends to help you with that, because it's all about affordability. And the more you don't have to give, the more you can afford with other things that involve your home. So that's a really good one to check out. Now, the second factor is your credit score. And your credit score is your weight in gold. Your credit score impacts your terms, your rate. It impacts the affordability of your home. Okay, think about it this way. You saw that commercial where you can get this nice luxury car for really incredible interest rate, very low monthly payments. And if you squint a little bit, you also see that fine print that says for well-qualified buyers. Okay, so here is your fine print when it comes to buying your home. You have to have a great credit score. You need to be a well-qualified borrower in order to purchase your home. And there are a couple of factors you want to keep in mind when you're looking at your home loan. And I call this the T&T, the type and the term. Your loan type, and most of you know this, is conventional, FHA, VA, sometimes USDA. I mean, there are a number out there. But you have to have a certain credit score to qualify for different types of loans. And of course, you're going to get with your lender. Your lender is going to walk you through this. But the better your score, you have better options of which of these loan types that's best for you. Here's the other thing, the term, the length of the loan. Whether you're going to get your 30-year mortgage, 20-year mortgage, or 15-year mortgage, obviously that's going to impact your monthly payment and your affordability. The shorter your mortgage term, the 15-year, well, a couple of things. The interest rate is typically lower. You're not going to have a mortgage as long, which means you're going to start celebrating total, complete equity in home ownership faster than the one who may have a 30-year mortgage. But let's think of it this way. If you've owned your home for as few as 5 years, you are probably experiencing nearly 60% of appreciation of equity in your home. And if you've been hanging around for 30 years with your mortgage, you have almost, I think I saw a statistic where you have a little more than 300%, if not higher, equity in your home from when you first bought it. Now you're sitting on tons of cash. But for those people who are thinking about buying a home, just insert your name into that scenario. Holding on your home as little as 3 to 5 years, you've already made money on your home. And that's the name of the game. It's all about equity. Because once you have equity, once you've created wealth in your home, that's a lot of power. If you have an emergency, medical emergency, if you got laid off or fired, whatever the case, then you have that cushion in your home that you can pull from your equity to sustain your life until you are gainfully employed, or you're healthy again, whatever the case. So it's a lot of power with home ownership, a lot more than just decorating for the holidays. Well, hopefully in this video, if you are struggling with the realities of should I buy a home, should I not, whatever's been holding you back, I just want to touch on 3 really popular things that I see people gravitating toward, or have been able to kind of coach them through some of these things that's caused them quite a bit of anxiety over home ownership. So think about what we've covered today in this video. Which of these movie titles, movie exec, what you choose and what you think is most applicable to people that you know, and it could include you, who's struggling with making that commitment of buying a home. Would it be Sidelines, Waiting for a Miracle, a Someday Shuffle, Lost in the Waiting Game, or Chasing Tomorrow, Missing Today? And that's exactly what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to miss out on today because you're so focused on the woulda, coulda, shoulda's, and now you feel regret because then you go down this road. The regret of not making that commitment 2 years ago and how far along you would be today if you had done it then, and then all the money and potential you've lost today because prices are higher, the mortgage rates are higher. I mean, you're just going to torment yourself. So we're not going to do any more fear of missing out. We're going to grab hold of the bull by the horns and we're going to get this done. Hi, I'm Tracy Sorrell with the DFW Life. And if you're considering making a move, if you're thinking like, okay, now may be the time, then comment below. Grab one of those one-on-one consultation Zoom links so together we can kind of massage this out and see what is your better path to go to home ownership and decide which one of our areas, cities, suburbs, or communities, is the best place for you to create your new memories and call home.